it just goes to show how excited people are about AI in general and how hot it is. So yeah, without further
changing the way we work. So we're a very old business. You know, radio has been around for a long time, and we work in very prescriptive ways. And what I've seen from having people come in and deliver this work is actually real adoption of sort of behaviours and attitudes that you might probably find in startups, you know, data-heavy startups. People are really now using this data to challenge those assumptions and those rules and change the way radio is being put together. First time in probably 30, 40 years, frankly, because they can test and they can learn and they can go through the process and see if we're getting more listeners listening longer. So really for me, the value isn't, you know, don't get too obsessed with the modelling and the cleverness of that. It's about the cultural change that you'll go through as a business if you start adopting these principles. There you go. So, good mind introducing that. I've not met Stephen, so I don't know what you look like. Getting psyched up. Yeah. Leaning on the bar. Yes, Stephen. So social media, that's all it is. We're stopping out now. I will hand you over.
We'll just be a moment with technical difficulty. Just swapping over a laptop.
Oh, there.
Another British guy.
This is exactly why you were expelled from school. You're incapable of sticking at anything you don't enjoy, and you always think you know a better way. Don't call me, don't call your brothers or sisters until you go back to university. And with that, my mum hung up the phone. But knowing me, she knew that I was going to do it anyway. I was going to drop out of university/college after just the one lecture in the pursuit of an idea I had to bring physical student notice boards online. And I called that idea Wall Park, or Wall We Park Things On. So I'm an 18-year-old, I've moved a 300-mile round trip away from home, and I've called my mum immediately and told her that I've been inspired by the fact that there's still physical notice boards on campuses, and so I'm going to drop out today. My mum is Nigerian, so she didn't take that call well. I didn't speak to her, shout out Nigeria at the back of the room. I didn't speak to her from that point for the next 2 years as I built that website. And so 3 years on, I've raised investment from 5 of the world's top social media investors. As a kid that doesn't know how to build a website, so really doesn't know what he's doing. And we launched the website. And in that moment, I inherited the job that a lot of people in this room might face every single day, which is I became a marketeer. And I had to figure out how to get really millions of people to come to my website every single month, but I had about £4,000 to figure that out. So a little bit of that journey here. Called all my friends, told them to use the website, nobody came. That's one of the first real lessons I learned about marketing, was all these people told me that when I launched the website they would come and use it. I presumed everyone knew how hard I'd worked and how wonderful the website was, but when I launched the website, nobody came. And that taught me to never fall into the dangerous trap of thinking that anybody cares about you as much as you care about you. And you're just clapping because I'm Nigerian and you. And that was a real lesson for me, because I presumed that everybody knew my pain and knew how wonderful and shiny this thing was that I'd created, and it just wasn't the case. And so I realised that my job really was to win this, this desperate battle for this lucrative and elusive thing called attention, which unfortunately is dwindling these days. Oh, I don't know what this is. So I tried traditional means of advertising. I tried handing out posters, I tried putting up flyers, I took ads out in the student newspapers, and nobody came. I started reading a lot of trade press about marketing. It said that young people's attention spans are dwindling, so surely that just means I have to make my marketing more concise. I tried that, still nobody came. And then I started listening a little bit. I remember there were students walking down this street in Manchester where I started the website, and they were walking past me when I was trying to give them my flyer glued to the palm of their hand. And so I went to the pizza shop, which gives out these free pizza vouchers during September. I got 100 free pizza vouchers. I went to the university and I traded a pizza voucher for a screenshot of your phone in the settings section, which tells me where you're spending your time. And the answer, obvious now, not so obvious back in 2012, was social media. It was Facebook, it was Twitter. So my simple thinking was, I need to own as much real estate where young people's attention was. So what I did is I found a Facebook page that had 9,000 Manchester students on it. I bought it for £50. And when I posted my website on the Facebook page, it was the most traffic I'd ever had. And so, again, very simple thinking. I went on Twitter, I typed in the word student, a page came up with 5,000 followers, contacted the guy that ran it called Dom, told him to meet me at a bar about 100 miles away. He came to the bar, I told him, drop out of university, move to Manchester. I said, I can give you about £500 a month if things go to plan, and come and build Facebook pages with me. Much to Dominic's mother's dismay, he dropped out of university, moved to Manchester, and we spent all 6 months building Facebook pages, Twitter accounts for students, and we built about 4 million followers across these channels in 2013. Thank you. Nigerian at the back. And we used those 4 million students, followers, to drive 1 million people to my website every single month, about 33,000 a day, just by posting content onto these channels that existed on my website. Really interesting, but eventually you have to make money in business. You can't just burn investor money. So I looked at how advertising works, and the model was you put brands onto your website, and that just didn't sit right with me. I remember getting a call from Spotify, and Spotify were trying to reach students, and I was telling them about the website I had, but I said to the lady on the phone, because I couldn't lie to her, I said, all of the traffic's coming from these social media pages. Really, I should put you on the social media pages. And the thought of putting a brand, posting a brand on a social media page in 2012 would literally, it sounds crazy now, would literally get you laughed out of the room. Posting a major brand on a Facebook page where students are cracking jokes would get you laughed out of the room, and Spotify said no. And I didn't believe they were right. I thought you didn't really need Wallpark. You had all the attention in this native place called social media. Social media could become the platform. I could put brands on social media, and it would perform better for the brand, and that's all I really cared about. That was the simple truth I believed in. And so I did what Steve Bartlett's always done. After getting expelled from school, dropping out of university, I quit, because I felt like I knew a better way. And so when I was 21 years old, went around all the world, San Francisco, Brazil, Manchester, London, Spain, Thailand, Asia, and met every young person I could that had built a big social media channel, right? So Connor here had 17 million followers. He built the biggest food page on Instagram with 7 million followers. He built the biggest fitness page on Twitter and Facebook. These were young kids that were building these huge channels for fun in their bedrooms. I hired every single one of them, and I acquired all of their assets in 2013 and 14. So we acquired about 400 social media pages, and these social media pages are very far-reaching, from the biggest Harry Potter page in the world with 2-3 million followers, to the biggest sports channels, the biggest drinks page, Pomsky Dogs, you name a topic. Our cupcake page has 2 million followers. We've got a gaming page, we've got meme pages, travel pages. Sporf, which was started by a college kid who was 18 years old and built it to about 600,000 followers, now has 15 million followers and is run by a team of 10 people. It's one of the biggest sports media properties on social media. It's more engaged than the likes of ESPN on social media, especially through the World Cup. Student Problem, started by Dominic, who dropped out of university with his 5,000 followers, now has about 10 million followers across Facebook. It's just overtaken College Humor. It reaches 1.5 billion people a month across social media. Some of the videos there, it's tens and tens of millions of views per video. Love Travel again, huge brand. BeFit Motivation, started by Connor, is now a big sort of fitness property, biggest on Facebook again. Love Food, social gaming. We acquired all of Fremantle Media's online YouTube channels, so we had all of the big football and soccer YouTube channels across every major club. We have a lot of social media pages, is basically the moral of the story. And with that value, there was two things. There was the audience, which we acquired, and then really there was all of the minds and all of the young people that went into building that audience. And both, to me, were equally as valuable. The knowledge was probably even more valuable. And so we created two companies. The first is called Media Chain, which owns these huge properties across huge niches. And in our warehouse in the UK, we spend all day creating content in our kitchens. We've got 8 studios in there, and about 170 people working in that one office space of 5 offices. And Social Chain, which endeavours to be the world's leading social-first marketing agency, working with the biggest brands in the world, helping them understand social media. And this is all driven by a team that is the average age of 22 now, at a push, 21, 22 years old. And then the company evolved even further when we started making acquisitions. We started acquiring e-commerce companies, and we now own over 15 e-commerce brands, which we leverage using our sort of social and media strength, per se. So today I'm basically just going to give 6 ways we're using AI, and we're developing AI products to help inform and to produce better work for the brands we work with. We live in this fake news era, right, where heavily fueled by Donald Trump and these big scandals like Cambridge Analytica. And the scapegoat for all of this has been Mark Zuckerberg. A lot of people would blame Mark Zuckerberg, saying he's a bad guy and he's done bad things, but from my viewpoint and from how I've seen social media evolve, I really do think that in some respects he is a scapegoat. And I won't go into that, that's a different argument for a different time. But it's caused this new terminology called fake news. And the interesting thing for me about fake news is it shares very similar properties to great marketing. It leverages emotion and it leverages culture and things people are concerned about. It has a power to distribute a message. It understands social media. And I wanted to show how we use the same principles of fake news to create our own fake news that wasn't true, that convinced a large amount of people of something that wasn't true. And we did this for fun. There was no... Okay, this was fun. So, speaking at the world's largest football conference called SoccerX, we created a fake football player called Rex Secco, which is an anagram of the conference that we were speaking at. And understanding... Here's a picture of Rex Secco, of Google Images. We created a couple of graphics to make it feel real. So made him incredibly young, again, because that's playing to emotion and it's kind of inflammatory in a way. We made him sign for a football club that the data told us were most angry with their manager for not signing a player. We made him take a long time to score a goal, and we made him the most expensive teenager of that club's history. We pressed our magic social chain button and posted it across our channels. And the world started talking about Rex Secco signing for Arsenal. Within the first 2 minutes, the narrative is very curious, but after 10 minutes, people are saying he looks worth the money. It starts trending on Twitter after about 15 minutes, moves up the trends very, very quickly. After about 20 minutes, there's a lot of conversation. This sorry soul in the corner says, Rex Secco at age 16 is worth 34 million, and I'm not even worth a text back. Yes. This guy, 24 minutes in, says, man, no one has a clue about that Rex Secco, but that wasn't necessarily true, because this guy could have sworn he'd seen him play before. Trends on Twitter keeps moving up the trends, people start discussing it over on Reddit, all the newspapers weighing on the story. The Metro did 3 articles on the signing of Rex Secco. The Daily Mirror called it one of football's greatest ever hoaxes. There's 300,000 search results on Google for Rex Secco. And many of them are linked to the manager. 151 million impressions that night on Twitter alone. Global impact all around the world, according to Crimson Hexagon, and the shirt of £34 million Rex Secco still hangs on the wall in our office. So, getting on to AI, right? So, here's how we're using AI. The first real way we use it, we're developing AI tools, is with live video. The great thing about live video is it doesn't have to be live. So it can change in real time. Live video started with Periscope. Facebook showed up late and crushed it, as they always do. And we've created some really interesting live videos that have resulted in us having the top 9 of the top 10 branded live videos across Facebook. So 2 simple ways we do that. Retention is super important, because this isn't TV. People are still stumbling across your stream, irrespective of where they land. They need to be retained. Here's a really good example of a dynamic live video. So this is a live video on Facebook, okay? And it's changing based on what people do. So, very simple, we did it for Boohoo.com, they're a $1 billion fashion retailer. It lasts for 1 hour. There's a 60-second timer in the middle of the live video. There's a question across the bottom of the screen. If you answer this question correctly, you win this prize, and your face instantly, within a second, appears here. So the question is, which film was recently incorrectly announced as Best Picture at the Oscars? The answer is La La Land. If you comment La La Land and you're right and you're first, your face will immediately appear here. Changes, new question, new prize, 60 seconds back on the clock. And these, because we're basically leveraging your comments, every time you comment, you're telling your friends you did, which is showing all of your friends the stream. Again, it's super simple. So when your friends see the stream because Jenny just commented on Boohoo's stream, self-explanatory, doesn't matter where you've landed, you get it. You take part, tells all your friends, and it's this viral leap which has resulted in these live videos getting millions and millions and millions of comments in the space of those 60 minutes. What we're doing with live video is we're creating live videos that learn, adapt, and evolve based on their engagement in real time. And it's something that's never been done anywhere in the world before. It's technology that we've built, and we've still yet to see anybody come close to producing content quite like that. Next, bots. Super interesting. You can do crazy things with bots these days. Targeting people based on what they've commented on your content with a message that is tailored to what they said. You can book into your airlines with bots. You can buy sunglasses, Lego, tickets to see your favorite artist. This is a messenger bot that is messaging you with a bespoke, tailored message. If you go to a website and you don't buy something, the bot can message you on Facebook saying, hey, you missed this within 24 hours. And what we're doing with bots is we're making them smarter and smarter based on the engagement and the conversions that they're driving. So these bots are learning what's making people convert at different times of day, different times in the week. If there are big social events that are happening, the World Cup final, not a good time to message necessarily. And these bots will get smarter and smarter, and they'll take over most of the functions of business, including customer service. And I'll touch on that in a second. The next thing is social media management. Most brands in the world have somebody running their social media channels. We built a tool last year called Social Feed, and we gave it responsibility of running 80 of our social media channels on Twitter, and it performs 6 times better in terms of engagement than the humans we hired had performed in terms of engagement. AI, in my opinion, will kill most social media manager jobs because it can pull on more data points to inform its decision making. It can understand the full context of what's happening all over the globe and make you more reactive as a brand, more tailored, and definitely more engaged. So we're building tools at the moment that will help you fire your social media guy or girl. Creative virality. Again, as I said, virality really comes down to these 4 things, and AI is able to help us inform these things. So during the World Cup final, if someone scores, an AI bot that's creating creative ideas can suggest that we post something to do with France, the World Cup in that moment. And it will get to a point where, hopefully, it can produce these things. It can produce text at the moment, based on huge sample sizes, but we're hoping it will get to a point in the future where it can produce videos and things like that, which is not too far away, seeing as there are songs on YouTube that have been produced by AI that have millions and millions of views. Influencer marketing again. Big campaign we did with Apple last year. Apple wanted to leverage thousands of influencers at once without having to use thousands of members of staff. So the challenge is, how do we get one person to control thousands of influencers? Very simple technology we built in about 2 days. Sends out a social media ad looking for students. Students see the ad in their newsfeed that says, do you want to be an Apple ambassador? If you click yes, it takes you through to a landing page. The landing page asks you 3 questions about music and how music makes you feel. And then if you want to reclaim 6 months free of Apple Music, you click one button, which does 2 things. It gives you Apple Music for free, and it gives us access to do 1 post from your social media account at a time of our choosing. Right? What the AI component of that is we analyze the way you talk to make that 1 post we do from your social media account tailored and relevant to you and your audience. And that campaign with Apple resulted in the highest sign-ups they had since Apple Music launched for students last year. That's basically it. There's over 200 of us now. Our offices all around the world are big, crazy warehouses created by young, naive people. We use all the world's leading technology tools, including Peak. We're working a lot with Peak at the moment. The press say a lot of great things about us. We get called the social media Illuminati a lot. The brands we work with say slightly nicer things about us. And most importantly, me and my mum have never had a better relationship. Thank you. Any questions?
So, the presentation before mentioned keyword. get all this. So the presentation before you guys mentioned keeping people and working with AI so that no one's necessarily losing their job. Your presentation talks about getting rid of social media manager that's people like me. So.
And people, that's the crazy thing. Let's never ever fall into the trap of thinking that innovation cares about us. This is why so many industries have collapsed. It's why HMV, who were under the impression that people wanted to leave their homes and buy plastic CDs to listen to their music, didn't see Apple Music coming. It's why Netflix has done so incredibly well. Innovation is out there to create better. It doesn't care. And that's something you can either fight it and lose, or you can embrace it and work with it to create better solutions. And that's the decision I make every day, because the way that I think about it when I wake up in the morning is innovation's coming for me too. Better is coming for me too. Technological advancements are coming for what I do every single day. It doesn't care how much I love my job or how hard I worked. And you just can't be romantic about that.
Yeah, let's try the other one. Just the left one.
So, but like, let's say when somebody's messaging you back, like if it's a robot, I feel like I could judge and I would tell. If it's a robot that's talking to me, first doing it earlier.
Sure.
Right. So like, I feel like it's going to get to that point.
So the question is, I feel like I could tell if it was a human, right? So when you call like a customer service line, or you message a bot on Facebook, or, you're looking for customer service, you message a brand. A lot of the time what you're looking for is to accomplish some kind of objective, right? Like you might be wanting to find out why your Verizon phone isn't working, or you might want to book a flight, or these kinds of things. A lot of the time you're trying to accomplish something, right? You're not necessarily wanting to deal with Stephen in England that can't really hear you well on the phone, or Stephen who actually wasn't there that day because Stephen got sick. You're trying to accomplish an objective, and AI will get to the point where it's, in many respects, better at accomplishing that objective than humans because it can pull on more data points. Again, it's about creating better. Uber was the same. A lot of people would have thought back in the day, when I want to use my phone to get from A to B, or when I want to speak to somebody, have them come and chauffeur me and pick me up, I think that the future will tell us that really what we wanted to do was accomplish that objective in the most time-efficient way possible, as opposed to have a conversation with X person in a customer service centre.
I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying. But do you know what you're saying? Because like when you call Verizon and the robot, it's always terrible. And you go,
Right now it's not great, and that's why we still have. Right now it's not the best, and that's why we still have a huge human element to it. But we're at the very start of where AI is going to go. And it doesn't make a lot of sense on both sides in terms of the people that are hiring hundreds and hundreds of people to fill call centres, but also on your side, someone who has to wait in a queue for 25 minutes to get through to Stephen on the other end. You don't like waiting in queues, do you?
I'd rather than talk to a robot.
But what if the robot could accomplish the objective faster and you didn't have to wait in any queue whatsoever? The reason why we still don't trust, when you go on a website and it says, do you want to call or do you want to speak to the little online messenger bot? We tend to always pick the call if we really want to get it done. It's because that's still the best way to accomplish a lot of these customer service tasks. But I think in the future that won't be the case.
I'm going to keep this brief. So I'm going to pull the pie out of the sky. When my daughter asks Alexa what the capital of Delaware is, it makes an MP3. And that MP3 is fed to a convolutional neural network, or actually a recurrent neural network. And it predicts what she said. It doesn't know what she said, it predicts what she said. It creates a database query. And that query goes to a database, asks the question that we thought was asked, an answer comes back. And another application called Polly predicts how you say that in English back to my daughter. It's Dover, by the way. There's no artificial intelligence. There is no intelligence along the way, but there are predictions. And that is what machine learning is. It's predictions. Now, forget everything sexy you just heard, because that's pretty sexy. What's happening right now is predictions are cheap. Okay, that's what's happening. And whenever anything goes down in price, you buy more of it. And that's what's happening right now. AWS, Amazon happens to be the largest provider, but when something goes down in price, strictly on an economic basis, you have two things happen. There are substitutes and there are complements. Let's say if you went to Starbucks tomorrow and the price of a cup of coffee went from $2 to 20 cents, what would happen to tea? That's a substitute, right? Well, people are going to buy a lot more coffee. How much tea are they going to buy? The price of tea goes down. It has to. That's a substitute for coffee. If you think about the complements, sugar and cream, there's going to be a lot more demand, and the price of that is going to go up. So what's happening right now with machine learning is we have cheap predictions. In fact, if you replace everything you heard tonight when you hear AI or machine learning with cheap predictions, it'll really help you sort of understand what's happening right now. There's only really three things you can do with machine learning, and that is predict a number, predict a class, or discover a group. So predicting a number is, you have some data in the past, probably continue in the future. That's pretty easy to understand. Classification, that's predicting a class. That's cat, dog, not hot dog. That's what we see right now in a lot of our visual and audio classification. Predicting a group is sort of the gist behind a lot of what you heard tonight. It's called microsegmentation or algorithmic personas in dynamic content delivery. If you have a transaction record, all of a sudden you can look at that record, and instead of having 4 or 8 hypothetical personas that you were selling to, now you have 50, maybe more. And you know exactly who they are and what they're doing. And when someone comes to your website or to your phone app, and you just have a little bit of data on them, you can say, well, you're a lot like this group. It's not Julie, the hypothetical mother in Wisconsin, 25 to 27, that does this or that every week. It's Component 9. And Component 9 has distinct wants and needs. And it is much more personable. So that's what's happening right now. That is machine learning. Here's our stack. This is how we do what we do at AWS. In the very top level of the stack, we have vision and language services. These are the breakthrough services right now in AI. They may not continue to be because there's so many things bubbling up under the surface. Underneath that, we have platform services. In particular here, there's one called SageMaker. If you can't do what we do with language and vision, you could go to SageMaker or with classification or any of these other things and essentially create your own models from scratch. Underneath that, we have our platform services, our infrastructure and framework, and we do more than 80% of what's happening right now in the cloud in AI and machine learning. You experience this every day when you ask Alexa what the capital of Delaware is, if you don't know. And also we have now the Amazon Go store, where we really have prototyped what you can do in retail, where, and I've done this in Seattle, you walk into the store, you scan the app, it knows you're in the store, and using computer vision principally, you can tell, did you take something off of the shelf? Did you eat it in the store? Did you walk out with it? This is obviously going to have enormous impact on the face of retail. Just a quick demonstration of what we can do with vision now. Obviously we can classify what's happening at any moment. We can tell when people are coming in and where they are on the particular screen. We can identify friends, families, coworkers, etc. So if someone comes to your home and they type in the code, we can also say, well, is that really you by their face? So that's two-factor authorization. So who's doing this? Well, pretty much everybody. It is the dominant platform for machine learning right now. Of course, there are a lot of frameworks that work on AWS. We're super non-agnostic. I mean, we just support what everybody wants to do. And we're here to hear you. We're here to hear what you want to do with this amazing technology that is remarkably simple. It just does 3 things. You know, sometimes I say, well, the Rolling Stones only had 3 chords, and look what they did, right? So, you know, it's one thing to reduce it down, you know, to pull that pie out of the sky and say, well, what can we do with this? But your imagination's the limit, and 2 of the entrepreneurs that you heard here tonight have certainly mastered that art. So I hope you have a great conversation with us. I'm really eager to talk to you about what your goals are and what you want to do. So thank you very much. I'll say one more thing before I go. Peak AI is a rare breed. There are literally tens of thousands of companies on AWS doing machine learning. We have a number of tiers for our partners. They reach the top tier, and when we decided to create what we call the competency program, we picked the best of the best. We stuck our nose deep into their technology to make sure it was secure, reliable, it was globally accessible. If for any reason something happened in one part of the world, it wouldn't affect customers in another part of the world. Ultimately, very, very secure, both for you as the business owner and for the consumers of that data. So when GDPR comes up, for example, we have the richest set of tools. I mean, literally, it's a lack of effort not to comply with GDPR at this point. And these guys are the best of the best. There were only, I think, 15 competency partners out of the thousands that we had to review in the world, and they made the grade. So I'm really honored to help sponsor them here tonight, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. So thank you very much. Let's do our questions one on one, if that's okay.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks everyone for sitting through what was really interesting set of presentations. Chris's.
Hold on. I don't want to take any of these home. So we have these huge infographics back there. So if you want to grab them, it's right under the poster.
Okay, so souvenirs up there, posters from AWS, free food over there, and questions. So
yeah, 3 left.